What's going on, everyone? So today I want to talk to you about React forms. All right, forms in React can be really hard to build, especially if they're larger forms with many input fields. You're going to have to validate them. You're going to have to show errors to the user. What if you have multiple steps? How do you handle the various input fields, select, checkboxes, multiple checkboxes? It can get really complex, right? So I recommend using a third-party library. Now, there's a bunch out there, but there's one that I've been using for quite some time now. It's called React Hook Form. It provides a set of hooks for you that help you manage the form state, validate it, and submit it. There was another one that I was using called Formic, but I was having a lot of issues with it. As soon as my forms got complex, I started to have to work around the library. And now, anytime you pull in a library, you don't want to work around it. Otherwise, what's the point of having it, right? So let's see if we can build a really simple form and apply React Hook Form to it. Now, in another video, I actually want to show you how to use more complex forms, how to apply React Hook Form to more complex forms. And that will be a checkout form. Okay, so I created a React app here with TypeScript as the template. It's running in my browser here. All right, so we can just delete all this code. Export default function. Okay, we're gonna export app div. App here, okay? App is here. All right. So, in this example, I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm not going to do any styling. I just want to show you how you can wire up React Hook Form and start using it right away. All right, so let's start building the form. The first thing we want to do is add the library. Okay, we're going to add this, and then we're going to build some fields for the form. Let's build the form element. Some fields here. The first one, let's do like a register form, right? Text, password. So it'll be like name, full name, email. Right, email is a type, yeah. Email. Maybe we could do one more like a select field. Let's do option that. New York. Select a state. Okay. So, all right, what about all the other stuff, right? So let's import the form. The React Hook Form. It's gonna be like this, use form. It's gonna give us a couple functions to work with. The first one is called register. Basically, register is how you register the fields with the form state. And now the reason why this is not strongly typed is because we don't have a type for the form. So we can actually create an interface here because we're using TypeScript after all. And you should use TypeScript. So we'll call this register, right? What is it? Full name, password, email, state. Okay. All right. So So we add this stuff. Then we can start the strong typing of the fields here. We get that strong typing of the fields here. You won't be able to register like some oddly named field, right? Because of this. Email. We do state. Right? So we can do that. That looks right. So we refresh this. So we need to bind the submit function. Right? On submit. Actually, it's just like this. And then we pass in our own submit handler. Form data. Right? So we can console.log this. Let's see what this does, right? So, oh, we don't have a submit button. We don't have a submit button. Type submit form or register. This is like the ugliest form ever, but let's see. Maybe we can throw some divs in here, right? A little better, I guess, right? And placeholder equals name password. Oh, actually, this is email, right? Email. Okay, so if we submit this, we can already see stuff here, which looks good. So we can see the form state is already getting passed. What? Wait, what's going on here? I don't know. Sometimes Visual Studio Code does that. I don't know. We should be okay though. There's nothing wrong with the form. So, actually this is kind of small, right? Let me zoom in for you. All right. So we're here. Now, this is cool, right? We don't have that much code. Like, look at all this code. This is the whole form, right? A whole register form. The only thing that's obviously missing is validation and errors. So let's do validation. So what does that mean? We want a required we want to say that full name is required. You can't skip full name. And then we want to say email is required as well. So required actually takes a string or a boolean. String or boolean. And string would mean that it's a custom message. So I'll show you what that means. A custom error message. State. I guess we'll make this required, right? Password also required. All right. So now this is not using any type of schema library. You could obviously bring one of those in, like Zod or Yup. I use Zod. It's got a really nice interface to work with. And you would just apply it here on the resolver. And then you'd import like Yup or Zod resolver. But right now we're going to skip that. We'll do the schema in the more advanced video. For now, let's just get this form to show some errors. Yeah, okay, that's not a good password, right? But it's fine. So we are here. All right, so errors, so required. So let's see, if I submit, you see, I can't submit it. Like, this is not executing anymore. On submit is not running. And that's because the form is not valid. I mean, this is required. All this stuff is required and it's empty. So what I want to do is display the errors, right? So let's display the errors somewhere in the bottom. Let's do this. Let's actually create another component function error form errors. I don't like to have all this conditional logic here. So we're going to give form state should give us an errors form state dot errors object, right? Let's do this. Form state. Let's import this type. All right, so we're going to pass form state. Oh, we want properties here. We want to pass properties object. All right, that should do it. So form state. All right, this is happy. So if there's no errors, return null. If is valid. If is valid, return null. Okay. Now, if there is errors, which would be right after this line, we want to show each error. Okay. And the way we can do that is we could return, let's see. We'll have to loop through all the errors to show them, but let's do that. Let's get the keys from state. Let's get the keys. Actually, we could just get the entries, right? We'll return a list item here. Index. So error. What is error here? Error. What is this? Oh, it's giving us the key and the field. Okay. Let's try the. Yeah, let's try this. And let's see what this looks like. Okay, so it's not. So we don't know what the error is, but we can look at it. Because there's no message here. These are all just Boolean values. Type required, right? If the type is required, something went wrong. If the type is required, then we want to say this field is required. Field required. Full name field is required. Okay, full name field is. All right, state is required. Oh, actually, we can just get rid of this. full name is required. State is required. One thing is, I don't like how this is displaying. So what are we gonna do here? We're gonna it looks like we can get the ref. Well, the only issue is we don't know what field we're looking at. Oh, we can just do this, right? No, that's not good either. All right, let's add a custom message. Because we don't want to be checking what field are we looking at. Let's just add a custom message. Which is going to be here, dot message. And it's just going to be like this. Okay. Message full. Okay. All right, now we have a custom message for all this stuff, or at least we should. Yeah. All right. So this is a lot cleaner. We're not looking at, we're not looping through the fields and trying to figure out what field we're looking at when we're showing an error. So let's add the name. See? This is all handled with React hook form. None of this, as you can tell, there's like no special logic in here. The only thing I'm doing is actually displaying the errors to the user, saying what the validation criteria is, and that's it. Everything works. Okay, so that should cover this form. It's a really simple form, obviously, but it has built-in validation and error handling using React hook form. If you're wondering how do you submit the form, it's actually right here on submit function. You would call your server here and submit the data, which is just an object, to your server. And then you would show some loading state here, and you'd probably disable the button so people can't submit it again while it's loading. And then on the next video, what I want to talk about is more complex forms. So bigger forms with more complex fields, basically, and custom formatting. So I pulled it up here for you. This is our e-commerce React example. I'm going to add to cart. All right, so you have your cart items here. Go to checkout, place order. It's not going to let you, right? And then we have a bunch of nice stuff here, like custom validation for the card, custom formatting rather, custom formatting for the expiration, CVV, and even Google autocomplete. Okay, so we can get into that in the next video. Until then, subscribe. Peace.